All right. Well, welcome everybody. It is so great to be here. Thanks for being here at our first Classroom Connect of 2022. Classroom Connect is our educational series for the Chamber. We've been bringing it to you since COVID started. We reformatted our power lunches and changed that into just our educational program, Classroom Connect. And it's great to be kicking off our first one of 2022 in person here at the Entrepreneur Center. For those of you that aren't joining us here at the EC and joining us online, welcome. It's great to see you and have you part of the program today. We will be bringing all of our Classroom Connect programs as a hybrid event online, so you can watch and they'll live online forever. So it's a resource that you can go to and learn from at any time. But also we'll come together here in the room and network together. We'll offer lunches and then the program. For those that, so this educational program will live, like I said, online for us to reference at any time. This year, our Classroom Connect program is going to focus on something a little special. Through a partnership with the NGLCC, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, we are partnering with Google to bring their educational program called Grow with Google. This is to support small businesses, entrepreneurs, and individuals in helping Google products grow your business. They offered us a lot of choices of what they have programming and curriculum on. So we opened it up to surveying our members to hear what you guys wanted to learn about. And making your website work for you was what we heard was the top choice for you all. We'll be bringing you different programming from that around that throughout the year. We're going to meet every other month and bring this program to you. And what we wanted to do with those topics is highlight our members here in the community to bring their expertise, to bring their flair to talking about those topics. And that is what we have today. Tolbert Marketing and Events jumped at the opportunity to be able to host the first one, to teach the first one of these, and they're here today. You all have been members of the Chamber for a long time. They've hosted Brewing Up Business for us. They have helped out in committees. We love you all and thank you so much for being a part of the Chamber. We so value your membership, and thank you today for talking to us on how to make your website work for you. So we are going to get started with the Classroom Connect program, and thank you all again for being here.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Hi, everyone. I am Margaret Tolbert.
I'm Kimber Beeler.
And we're super excited to be speaking with you guys today. When it comes to marketing, our company does everything from websites to social media to special events, media buying. And so since we live in the world of digital marketing and websites, we thought this was going to be the perfect opportunity for us to share some of those tools that we've learned and we use for our clients to make their websites work best for them.
And it's your website, so if you have questions, we want this to be interactive. We want you all to let us know what you want to know more about. So please put questions in the chat, raise your hand. Either way, we would love to answer anything you have.
For sure. And if you're watching this later on and you have questions for us, feel free to reach out. Our website is tolbert.social. So feel free to go on there. You can fill out our online audit, and we'd be happy to get back and answer any questions you may have. Awesome. So today we're ready to talk about your website that you have and how to use the different Google tools to make them work for you. It's all great to have a pretty website built out there that's live, but if it's not working to get you the results and following your goals, what's the point of it? So that's what we really want to dig in today. We know that people are shopping online. They're making decisions before they step foot in your storefront, before they pick up the phone to call you. They're going and checking you out at your website. That is where those purchase decisions are happening. So we know that because people are looking at websites, they want a site that's convenient, it's something they can trust, and it actually interests them in what it is that they're looking for. So we're going to talk today on tools that you can use to make sure that your strong website is offering that experience that people are really looking for in their business. All right, let's go the right way with this, right? All right, so let's talk about website design. It's more than just the look of your website when we're talking about website design. While yes, you want to make sure it follows your brand when it comes to colors and fonts, the functionality of it and the layout, there's a lot more that goes into a website that has to do with that user experience. One of the things that we like to do when we're building out a new website or we're doing an audit of a current website is we look to find that most important information that somebody may be going to your website looking for. So has anyone ever heard of the golden triangle or this one? The golden triangle is that top left-hand corner of your website. This is the first place that someone's eyes go to when they go to your website. So it's important that when you design a website, that important information, the stuff that you want people to see first, to take action, to know you, happens in that top left-hand piece all the way across the top and then in the corner here. So that's something I want you guys to go do. Look at your websites and say to yourself, when I first go here, does it represent my brand? And does it have that key pertinent information in that golden triangle, that top left-hand corner of my website?
One of the most important things that means your phone number.
Yes.
Do not make people hunt for your phone number. Have it in the right-hand corner. It really is the best place to put it. And that way people aren't scrolling and going to different pages. If they can't find it, they will find someone else's.
And with that phone number too, make sure it's clickable. So if they're looking at it from mobile, they can just click on the number and it'll automatically call you. Keep it easy. That's going to be a big piece.
How do you do that?
So that's something that's done on the back end of the site. It's usually in most website builders, it's all about highlighting it, and then you'll see a button when you right click that'll help link to the number. Many website builders even have those kind of built into their platform where it'll automatically prompt you.
Yeah.
And what you're showing on screen, that is called optimization, right? Where if over on the left, it's on an iPhone, and on the right, it's on a website, and the website
So
knows.
that's responsiveness.
Okay.
So responsiveness has to do with no matter what device you're on, your screen resolution automatically changes to fit that. And we're going to go into more detail when it comes to having a responsive website, because it's 100 important when it comes to optimizing your site as well. So they work hand in hand. With that golden triangle and having all of those pieces to it, it all has to do too with, goes back to what your website's built in. A majority of people build websites in a CMS or a content management system. Examples of that may even sound even more familiar to you if you weren't the one that designed your site. It could be a more templated piece like a Wix website or a Squarespace or a Stripe site, or it could be something that's still templated based, but has a lot more coding that's built into it, more customization, and one of the most popular platforms is WordPress. So we find a majority of people are going to be on something like a Squarespace or a Wix or a WordPress. But no matter what, those are all content management systems where you're able to design and build it out with that specific flow in mind. So that, what we just looked at, is how you make a good website. But today, let's take that good website that you've already got and let's make it great. So we're going to go into some things to really dig into it in ways you can use Google's tools to make that happen. Number one, we want it to be goal-oriented. So we're going to go into some details about the goals that you may have for your business and for your website, and how to kind of audit and do checks and balances to make sure that your website is truly meeting those goals and needs that you have. We also want to make sure that it's search-friendly. Like we said, people are going online looking for you before they're picking up the phone to call you, before they're walking through your brick and mortar business building. So you want to make sure it's a search-friendly site that people are able to find you. You want it to be a convenient site, so no matter where they are, and this is where the responsiveness comes in, they're able to pull you up on their phone, their tablet, their desktop, whatever their need is for your service, you're being found. You also want to make sure your website is organized. And we're going to talk about how that's not necessarily about color coding things and the look, but how it's laid out so that people are finding you. And again, we're going back to those main goals that you have. And then we're going to talk about a trustworthy site and why that's important as well. So first, I want to talk about goals and being goal-oriented. We know that goals need to be specific in order to be met. You want to know what your goals are, and I want to know too, I want to think about it. Are your business goals the same as your website goals? Have you noticed that your business goals maybe need something more from the website, and is your website built in that way? So you really want to think about what those goals are for your website. Is it to build a brand, generate leads? Are you actually making sales on your site? Is anyone in here, you have an e-commerce website? No? Okay. Because that's a whole different thing if you're looking to actually make sales on the site. Are you looking to re-engage customers? So maybe they came into your brick and mortar building and now you're trying to bring them back for more consistent business. Or maybe they bought a home with you, you're a real estate agent, they bought a home with you, and now you want to re-engage with them again and help them find new opportunities. Is it to attract employees? Is that the main goal of your site? Or provide support of some kind? So you really want to think about that. For our Tolbert Marketing and Events website, tolbert.social, our website goal is all about building a brand, generating leads, and even providing a little bit of support, because we want our website to educate people on the importance of marketing and what you can do to get your brand out there. So that's kind of the messaging that we have on ours. So when you go to our website, you'll see front and center, part of that golden triangle, the fun little button that's kind of turning that says, get your digital audit here. And so we're trying to drive attention and traffic to get people to give us their information so that we can find needs to help better build their websites or manage their social. So make sure your website has those types of things.
That's a good point, Mark, because a lot of businesses don't have just one goal.
Right.
We have multiple purposes for business. And yes, we want more leads, but we also want people to know when they get there what it is we do. And we don't want that to be something that is questionable even after 6, 7, 8 pages of someone looking through your site. So making sure that all of these things are, you're pinpointing those and sticking to them. Yes, Joe, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
You'll wait, Joe's waiting.
Hi, Joe.
Sorry.
So I want you to think about that now. In fact, if you want to jot down some notes, think about what is the goal that I have for my website, because the next piece of it too is who is your audience. So you want to know, what do you want my website to do, and who are the people I want them to do that? Okay, so think about who your target audience is. How do they act? How do they think? How do they live? It's not just the basic demographics of your audience, but what is it that interests my target audience? Because that's the type of thing that I want to do. If I know that my target audience is someone who's quick on the go, I want to make sure my website is short, sweet, and to the point. If it is a product that I'm selling, a specific one that's going to solve a problem for someone, that needs to be featured first thing when someone goes into my site. So you really want to think about what are the age ranges that we're looking at, maybe the areas, the education levels. Education level is a big thing to keep in mind when you're building out content on your website, making sure you're writing it to that audience in a level that they're going to understand. And are we talking about your goods and services as a special treat? Is it something that everyone needs? And really honing in on all of those pieces. And that's what's going to help you design your website, keeping about the audience in mind first. All right. SMART goals. Have we all seen this one before? Do we all know about these SMART goals? Okay. So SMART goals are number one, specific. You have a detailed goal in mind. You don't want to be as broad as, I want to reach new business. All right. A specific goal is, I want to reach these types of people when they're doing this type of thing at this time. I want to measurable, have a number to go with it. I want to sell them a certain amount, or I want to bring in this much business. This many new clients. Attainable. Is that goal something that I can attain? Because, we'd all love to get $1 billion, but is that an obtainable goal that we want to set in place? Is it relevant to what it is that our business is and trying to reach those goals? And then time. You want to put a time on there. If you don't have a time bound, then that goal could go on and on and on, and we may never reach it.
And you never set new goals.
And you're never setting new goals.
Yeah.
You're going to constantly be setting new goals.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you. Sometimes I have goals just to get through my day. I'm a list person, and so I have my goals in my list that I handwrite old school way on a notepad, and then I've got my long-term SMART goals that I'm doing over time, and I'm consistently going back, I'm checking, I'm measuring, making sure that we're staying on track. And you want to make sure all the different parts of your business are going back and checking back to those SMART goals and are staying on track. When it comes to that website, you've got your goal, you know who your audience is. So now how are we going to even measure that it's working? And that's what I love about the different Google tools, is they really help you decide, is what I'm doing working? So we're going to go through some of those really cool tools that Google does have for you guys. And there's other tools out there. We'll share some of those as we come along as well. But you want to be able to track any online sales that you have, collect forms or submissions, contact information. You want to be able to monitor phone calls, measure engagement. But bottom line, you want to make sure you're following those realistic goals you have in place, and you're watching and monitoring to make sure that it's actually happening. And one of the best ways to do it is with our favorite tool, Google Analytics. You can get to Google Analytics by Googling Google Analytics. That's one easy way. Or you can go to g.co/analytics. As a website designer and developer, I live and breathe, Kimber does, we live and breathe in Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a tag that you add to the back end of your website, and it tracks everything, you guys. So you're able to see who's visiting your site, how long they're spending on your site, what pages are they most visiting, what do their demographics look like, and it allows you to say, okay, does this match the goals and the audience that I had in mind?
Matching is important though, because I many times talk to businesses who tell me what their demographic is, and then I get into the analytics and I say, you are wrong. That is not who is interacting with you. And we have to have that conversation of, you may want to achieve reaching the people you're telling me, but your website is telling me something completely different. And does that mean we need to change our goals at that point? Or is there a way to reach the people you're actually looking for? Because there is a world in which maybe you didn't even know that audience was available to you, and you're actually getting them. Or you're getting the wrong people, and there's a reason why your business might be struggling. So it's really interesting to see the analytics actually give the real big picture for you. And inevitably, having analytics on your website helps with the golden word of optimization in the search engines for when people do search for you.
Do you guys in the room now, do you use Google Analytics currently? Do you love it?
Gonna get you on board,
We're
Jen.
gonna get you in there. Because it's the geek can come out in you when it comes to Google Analytics. One of the fun things that I have, I think this talks about it some. Well, first of all, I'll come back to that one too. One of the things that I really geek out over is you can get real-time statistics. So it's kind of exciting when you go on your website, you're like, oh my gosh, there's 100 other people on here with me right now, And so it's really eye-opening though, like Kimber was saying, to see what you can find. So if you don't already have Google Analytics set up on your website, go to g.co/analytics, click start. You're gonna use your Gmail account to get it all set up and everything. And then guys, you just follow the instructions.
Very easy.
Yeah,
very
Google
easy.
tells you exactly what to do. So you just kind of follow that guide. But what's going to happen when it's walking you through the steps is ultimately they're going to give you a tracking code that you go and stick on the back end of your website. If you have a site like a Squarespace or a Wix, it's as easy as going into the marketing tab, and there will be a spot that says Google, and you're able to connect that Google code that it's going to give you. If you have a WordPress site, sometimes you're going to want, there's different places to add it, but you may want to add a plugin to help you add in that Google Analytics. We like to use insert headers and footers, and we insert it in there that way. But there's multiple ways that you can go about it, and what's great is it's Google, so it's going to tell you exactly what to do. There's a video out there, I guarantee it, that will help show you how to add Google Analytics to your specific type of website that you have. So get that set up. When you're getting it set up, you're going to notice, though, that there's two different versions of Google Analytics. There's the version that is pre-2021, just like the rest of us. Everything is before COVID and after COVID, I feel like. But Google made a big change to their analytics, and so they now have the new GA4 version of analytics. If you were on Google Analytics before now, you have the universal analytics. You can have both. Both are working running. It's just with the new G4 platform, you're seeing a few different things. You're able to set up specific actions and activities and reports that you may want to track to be more detailed for your website that the old version couldn't do. But they're both going to be giving you information like who's on my website, how long are they spending on my site, what pages are they going to, where are they coming from, what do they look like. It helps you monitor not only who's on your website, who's engaging with your website, and how long they're engaging with it, but it also tells you what other marketing you're doing is working, because it's going to show. Sorry, my watch is interested in this presentation as well. It's also going to tell you, okay, so you got X amount of people that came from Facebook. So it's a great way to monitor how well your social media is working too. So you're going to get that with both the universal analytics as well as the new Google Analytics 4 version. It's just like I said, the latest version is going to have some more reports that you can build that go into detail on acquisition, engagement, monetization, and retention. And you can build specific goals and actions that you want to track within Google Analytics. There are videos that can help you out with this. And they'll teach you how to do that and go in more detail, because I can stand up here and talk it through all day, but until you get in and start playing with it, that's where you're going to really see it.
Something to note on that is if you are on the universal standard and you switch to the GA4 standard, the universal will still be in place.
That's
You
not
won't lose that. So it will just build on top of it.
Yes.
So is there a compelling reason if you're on a web platform that doesn't support the new standard yet? Is there a compelling reason to use the new standard? Would it be like, yeah, I should change my whole web platform and move to a new?
No, universal still has a majority of the basic stuff you need. I would say the new version is better for your websites where you do have those specific goals that you're wanting to track certain things on. In most cases, what you need can be found universal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked because GoDaddy doesn't support the new format yet.
So
right.
let's say we're to move forward and they said, we're no longer moving forward with universal, we'll store the old information in, but you have to use GA4, and definitely both work.
And GoDaddy will catch up at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the most important stuff is under universal. I even find myself going back and using more universal features than GA4 anyways for majority of our clients.
Yes, Jim.
And one thing that I want to point out, we will send these slides with all of these links
Good.
Yes.
out to everybody that registered, and then we will also post it on the online platforms that people are watching.
Perfect. Perfect. Links coming your way. A bonus tool when it comes to, so you're using analytics, you're seeing what's working on your site, what's not working on your site. Google also has Google Optimize, and this is a cool way to do some A/B testing and to see, okay, so this page, I want to try to see if it reaches my target audience a little bit better than maybe the design and looking this way. And so it helps you do a little bit of testing in your design. And so this is just kind of, like I said, an added thing, a fun way to make sure you're reaching those goals. And so that then when you do go back to analytics, you can say, yes, okay, now I see, but by having this layout in these certain places where they are, it's going to help me get the better results that I'm trying to have to reach.
Especially if you're trying to reach a new audience, or you have a new product line, or you have anything that you're just starting out with. It's a great way to just kind of gauge how people are going to interact with that information.
Having a pretty website is great. It's nice. But it's pointless if you can't find it. Okay? So you really want to make sure that your website is search engine friendly. We know that the people are going to Google. We Google everything. Even if you know, how many of you guys, I know on this, you know the web address, you still go to Google, don't you? We do that, yes. And then the newest thing too, now we want to know where something is near me, where I am right now as well. So that location of it. So let's look at the Google search results and make sure we all have a good understanding of what this looks like. So you go to Google, you type in Tolbert Marketing and Events. The top few things that are going to show up first are going to be the ads. And so these are called pay-per-click ads, meaning you only pay when someone clicks on it. Guarantee Google will get you all the clicks. You will reach your budgets. But this is a way to say, I want this specific audience to find me when they go search on Google. I want them, if they're searching for these specific keywords, I want to be found. And so it's your way to guarantee placement on the first page of Google.
There's usually 3 ads that sit on top of the search engine page.
When I say guarantee, that has to do with your budget too, though. So if you say, I'm going to pay $5, you're not going to show up on the first page. All right, so it all has to do with the competition out there. One of the tools that's not going to be covered in today's session is Google Ads and Google Adwords. So that's something I really encourage you to play with. We could do a whole session of its own on Google Adwords, but that's a great way if you say, I want to show up on page 1, and I've got the budget to do that. Under that are going to be the organic results. Yes?
What kind of budget are we talking about? That's like super, I have no idea.
Well, it's so vague because it depends on what your industry is, what the competition is, who else is advertising, and what they're spending, because it's a bidding system.
Mhm.
So the more you spend compared to your competitors, the better chances. What is your industry?
Say education technology,
Okay.
It's very specific.
or technology in general, which is more broad. But
Yeah. I mean, if you did technology in general, you're talking thousands of dollars a month.
The more specific your keywords are, the cheaper they will be. However, if you have a big competitor, I'm going to give you a perfect example. If with like a dental office, if they want to go after teeth whitening, well, so does Colgate.
Yeah.
And Crest. So if you have big competitors in that world, they're going to drive the price up just because they want to always be there. But if it's a very, what we call long tail keyword search, it's going to be more specific to you, specific to like technology platforms and like really detailed keyword searches. It doesn't have to be very expensive as long as you stick to those kind of words.
But if you're a dental office in Nashville, you're only concerned about teeth whitening in Nashville, so you could probably tell her that you could scope it, right? And then
Yeah.
keep that
Help
cost
side.
down.
But there is a dental office on every block of every street
Yeah.
in Nashville, so there's a lot of competition. When there's only 3 ad spots for that page search,
Got it.
it's going to get competitive. It is, I mean, dental is a very expensive category to be talking about, but inevitably it can be very robust depending on your competitive in the market. But if you don't have a lot, you have a very specific kind of business, you could probably get in and do it for under $1,000. But that just depends on how far and how big you want to go.
And how long too. So sometimes what I'll tell a client if they have a limited budget is I say, okay, let's take that budget, but let's only use it over the course of a week or 2 weeks. And let's really go strong for that amount of time, get your leads in, and move on. So that's a way you can kind of optimize that budget. But Google Keyword Planning Tool can help you figure out what budget you should be doing based off of how many people are searching and how many people are buying it. Or another tool is SEMrush. And that's a great way to see who's buying specific keywords, how much they're spending. It's a guesstimate, and that'll give you a good idea as well.
Now, I do know that there's a whole segment that we aren't doing today that maybe Lauren, take note, it's of interest.
Yeah.
So
It can be
we don't
a
want to
whole
get
thing
too
of its
into
own.
that today. So.
Okay, so for the organic results, that has to do with your website. So quick kind of like story behind how all of that works. And the best way that I have to explain it is, Google as a search engine, it has these spiders that crawl through the back end of all of the websites very, very quickly. And it's going to every single website and it's pulling all of this information, putting it into folders based off of the things that it finds. Has to do with keywords. It has to do with that back end coding on your website. And if these spiders are able to easily navigate through your site, find all of the perfect things, put them into the perfect folders, that's what helps them then deliver it back when someone searches for that information that they found on you. If the spiders go to your website and it takes forever to load, for example, the spider is going to get bored and it's going to leave, just like a user would. Okay? If the spider goes to your website and the whole website is just built with pictures and there's no text on there, Spiders can't see those pictures, so it's gonna leave. It has no way of categorizing you. So making sure your website is search engine friendly means it's something that these spiders that Google can go and find and grab and get and put away in their little folders that they have. So that's what I want to go into, are some ways that you can make that website search engine friendly. And then another key piece that, again, is a whole probably section of its own, is the Google business profile. This right here, with 100% of searches, people saying near me, has taken a huge leap in where people are starting when they're looking for a specific brick and mortar business in particular.
That's usually associated to a map that has
Yeah.
little pinpoints.
So if you haven't already, if you have an actual storefront, you want to make sure that you go and you claim your business. You can go to Google My Business or business.google.com, and you want to go in there, claim your business, put in all of your information. The more information you can build in there, photos, hours of operation, descriptions, the better. And that's going to help you show up when people are looking for your business specifically to your location. All right, so here are some characteristics of what make a website search engine friendly. One is that it has fast load time, because let's face it, our attention spans are shrinking by the day. I read a study here recently that we now have a faster or a quicker attention time span than a goldfish does. All right, so we used to say it was about the same as a goldfish. No, not anymore, all right? So you have about 3 seconds to get my attention, and if it doesn't interest me, boom, I move on. This is huge in our social media world. It's all about the scrolling and what I call that thumb stopping moment. Same thing with websites. What's gonna make me stop on your website and pay attention? If it takes forever for it to load, I'm done, I'm out, I'm moving to the next one. 2, does it have useful content? Is, as I'm a target person, I went to your site, I looked for you for a specific thing, and if I go to your website and it has nothing to do with that keyword I was just searching, I'm gone. And then text links. And this is how people can get to your website from multiple places. So we're gonna go into detail on each of these different pieces. Page titles and descriptions. This has a lot to do with the back end of your website. The information architecture is how the website is laid out and how people can navigate through it. And then making sure that your website works on all browsers, all devices. And that's kind of what Joe was asking about. So we're going to go into some of these different pieces and the tools that Google has to make sure that you're doing each of these different things to make sure your site's Google search friendly. One thing is to first set up and go to Google Search Console. So again, you can Google it, or go to g.co/search console. So this is going to be a great way for you to stay on top of what the trends are. The algorithm on what Google decides shows up in the organic search engines changes all the time. This is a great way to stay on top of it and make sure that your website is following. In fact, it's this really cool kind of a meter, a grader, that's going to say, here are things that you need to fix on your website to be more search engine friendly now. So this is something you could go do frequently. Warning, word of advice to this one, as well as some of the other tools that we're going to talk about. Don't get sucked into it so much that you obsess over this. There are very few websites that are perfect in the world of being search engine friendly. If you put Amazon through some of these, it's still not going to perform perfectly. So don't get wrapped up in the number score that you may get, and instead really pay attention to the tips and tricks that it gives you just to improve and make yours better. When you do it, you're going to go into the Google console. It's going to help you confirm, number one, that Google can crawl your website. All right, and that the spider is able to make it through the site and it doesn't have a reason to stop. Also with this, you're gonna be able to do an indexing of your site, and this is where you can upload your information in the Google Search Console and make sure that the spiders are scanning and optimizing your site. Again, something to do, especially when you have a new site or if you're making a lot of changes to a site.
I was going to say, indexing happens when new content hits your site. So if you're not putting new content on regularly, you should. And if you're putting a big piece of new content or new pages resubmit it. It helps get it indexed quickly.
Google's going through every few days, but if you want it faster, you can force it through here. It helps you see search traffic for your type of site compared to other places. And then you can also set up email alerts to know if there are any issues with your website. Let's say your hosting goes down, a link gets broken for whatever reason, you'll get notified when that happens, so you can immediately go in and fix it. So that's gonna be a big piece. Another thing to help with all of that is just getting all set up. Again, Google it, that'll help you. But if you go to the g.co search console, you'll add your website property, and it's just gonna start following the directions to help you make sure you're following those steps to get all the different tools together. Little bonus with it is making sure your site's responsive. And so that's what we were talking about at the beginning with Joe. So a responsive site is where no matter what device you're on, your website should automatically reformat for that device. A fun little thing that you can do is if you go to your website from your desktop, if you right click and then you click inspect, you're gonna see the whole back end of your website. You can actually go do this on any website. And so this is the back, how it's built. And when I say the back end, it doesn't mean some hacker can necessarily go in and take all of your stuff. That's not it. But it sees how it's built, the bones of your website. It shows you what the spiders are seeing. And so what you're able to do is in the top corner when you go in there, you'll see this little thing that'll show a big screen and a small screen. And when you click on that, you're able to see what your website looks like with all different devices. There's going to be a drop down, and so you can drop it down to say, all right, I want the latest iPhone, I want an Android, I want a tablet, and it has all these different devices, and it shows you what your website looks like on those. So I encourage you, do that today.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Make sure your site is moving as it should, and if not, go back to your designer or developer, and they can help you make sure it is. Our opinion, we build websites mobile first. Majority of people are going to your website from their mobile device, so you want to build that website mobile friendly and mobile first.
Years ago, Google had Mobilegeddon, that's what we called it, a decade ago. And they stopped serving websites that are no longer mobile friendly. If your website is not mobile friendly, it is not being served because Google won't serve it. And you don't want to not be served by Google. It is the king of the web. So it's very important to make sure that people not only that it is mobile friendly, but once they are scrolling and getting through your website, that it's user friendly as well.
And when we say mobile friendly, one quick way to know is if you go to the website from a cell phone, which like she said, it's going to be blocked from Google. But if you go directly there and everything's tiny, all the text is tiny, and you have to pinch and zoom and all of that, that means it's not responsive. If it automatically loads things larger, your menu turns into what we call the hamburger, the 3 lines, pieces like that, that means it's responsive.
Yeah.
All right. A great website is convenient. So it's search engine friendly, but it's also convenient. Especially since COVID, we know we are going online to do so much business. We shop online, we research online, we do everything online.
We do reservations online.
And we're doing it also from our mobile devices. Because, yeah, again, we know COVID changed everything. So it got to that point where like you're tired of sitting at your desk, at your laptop, at your computer. And so you realize, I can be multitasking, doing so much from my phone while I'm also doing my laundry or checking out what's latest on TikTok. So because of that, that's even done a bigger emphasis on the mobile first website as well. But you want to make sure that your website is responsive, but that also it makes everything simple and convenient for your users. So if you are an e-commerce site, make sure they can pay easily. I don't know about you guys, but I hate it when I have to get up to go get my credit card. You know, I want what's either saved because they're using the Google payment system, and so it's saved in my Google Chrome, and it's going to automatically feed in my credit card, or it connects to PayPal. It connects in some way, Venmo, some way where I don't have to get up to go enter my credit card information. So make it simple, personalized recommendations based off of your target audience and what you want them doing. If it is something that it does need to be picked up, offer the curbside pickup or easy delivery and shipping. And then even better, having the ability to have virtual consultations is great. So if it's built into your website with a plugin or a platform, or if it's even just setting an appointment for a Zoom meeting, having that opportunity is what's going to be key right now for that convenience, now that so many of us are working remotely. I feel like we've talked through responsive design enough. You guys feel good about the difference between a responsive site and a non-responsive site. Those of you checking out online, you're going to see this presentation later. So we're going to move past the responsive piece. Here's an example of some ways you can do the payment options to make them easier. Like I said, Google Pay is a great way to do it. PayPal, Amazon, Shopify, whatever it is, make it easy so they don't have to go get and enter their credit card information every time. Like we said, recommending products based off of things they may have been interested in before. So having some of that technology built into your e-commerce platform to say, okay, you bought this last time. Now maybe you would be interested in these following products to help move your way through. Of course, we know ways to get that product to them, the faster, the better. All right, let's go back to testing our sites and making sure things are working quickly. So one of the things we mentioned earlier that makes your site search engine friendly is that it's quick, because if the spiders get bored, so will we. Google has a test. This is another one I want to give the caveat to. Do not get sucked into it. Your website most likely is going to come up poor. That's okay. It's not like failing. You're not a failure at anything. Your website still may be great. Amazon is poor. Okay? But by using the Google speed test, you are given a whole bunch of tips that will help you better optimize your site to help improve the speed, and maybe you can get to moderate. It's very rare you will find a perfect website. The only time I feel like I've seen a perfect website that's in the green is a website that has no content on it. Okay? I mean, that's
If it looks perfect,
that's
every
great.
time.
Yeah, it's a contact form with your logo, So if you have a site that actually has good content on it, it's not going to be fast. So do not get sucked into this. I had a client who he would go check it every single day, you guys, every day. And he's like, oh, we're still poor. Or we would go up for a day, but then we would go back down the next day. I was like, yeah, because you added new content to it. So please do not get sucked into this. It's not like a pass or fail grade or anything. But it is a cool way to get some tips on the ways you can change your website to make it go faster. So improving your load time by 1/10 of a second can boost your conversion rate by 8%. So while improving it by 1/10 of a second may not get you out of the red zone, it still can help get you results from that website. So that's one of the things I love about the speed test, is it just gives you some ways to optimize your site a little bit better.
This is where we can, remember the attention span, like the goldfish scenario, 3 to 4 seconds. If you're really beyond that, if you're double that, there's something that really needs to be changed on your website. If you're at 3.5 seconds and it has you at 4 because you're a half second over 3, you're probably doing okay. People aren't going to absolutely just, leave the website at that point. But if you're in the 8 to 10 second range, there's a real problem that needs to be fixed.
So when it comes to fixing it, one, you can hire pros like us. We can help you with that. But there's also some really cool tools. So one tool that I'm going to give you is called Smush, S-M-U-S-H. Smush will do just that. It will automatically, and it's a plugin you can use on a WordPress site. I don't believe Smush is available for Wix, but you'll find that Wix and Squarespace, they're already built a little bit better. WordPress is just a heavier site. So if we're on a WordPress site, the Smush plugin helps take your, it will help take those images and it helps smush it down to a better size so that you have faster load times. And it'll automatically do that as you add new images to your website, you're updating it, maybe you add a new blog post, it'll help do that. Another tool that we love for optimization is Yoast. Yoast is a search engine optimization plugin. It can be used on other platforms as well, but it's mostly WordPress. Do the paid version of Yoast. but Yoast will automatically do things on the back end of your website to make sure it is more search engine friendly. It helps with the speed of your site. It helps with proper tagging on your website. One of the things I love about Yoast is when you're doing a blog post, for example, on a WordPress site, Yoast will be grading you and it'll say, hey, you really need more relevant content added in or more keywords built in as well. So Yoast is another really great tool for that. And it's worth paying for the paid version. I want to say it's like $80 a year, you know? And so for it to help you show up organically, totally worth that all day long. All right, so a great website is organized. So your information architecture is all about that layout of the site. You want to make sure the most important things are found first and top. If you have a website that has a whole bunch of pages, it's still important that you categorize things with like your main categories and then your subcategories within them. Everything should be in a menu, easy to find, easy to navigate through, and easy to link to. You want that list of all the pages on your website. Oftentimes this is done through what's called a sitemap. And most website CMS tools will help you build that sitemap. That sitemap's also what you upload into the Google console. That helps you be searched by Google and categorized there. You want to make sure every single page has a clear call to action. Tell people what you want them to do. How can they contact you? This is where it's great having right there in your header, that's on every single page, that phone number, like Amber said, in that top right corner, part of the golden triangle. You have your logo on there. Got the menu, easy to find and easy to connect to. And then optimize that navigation so that people can find it and they're getting everything they need. Because if you can't find what you're looking for and what's relevant through the whole process, people are going to give up and they're going to go away. So the way you organize your website helps in return with making it search engine friendly, but also user friendly. If you want to know about trends when it comes to building a website and what people are searching for based off of specific topics, a cool tool is Google Trends. So ge.co/trends. And so this is a great way to search a specific keyword. And this way you may think, oh, my target audience is searching for purple widgets. And then you start realizing, oh my gosh, not very many people in my audience are actually searching for purple widgets. They love pink widgets. So maybe I need to start offering more pink widgets on my website. This is just a cool way to see some things that you could be doing to make your website laid out in a way and organized with the content people are looking for.
Google Trends is also a really great way to refer back to your analytics, because if you're seeing a drop in page views or just general performance, take a look at the trends for your industry, because you might just see that the entire industry is down because maybe the little bit of a seasonality has kicked in, something like that. You can take Google Trends on a local level. You can drill it down to city level. So Nashville is about as low as you can get. You're not going to get to like a Williamson County or a Mount Juliet. It's going to say Nashville as a big DMA, but inevitably you can see some local information. Did you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, well, you got it.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so I love that you can break it down by local. I'm curious if another way to see trends or see like how optimized you are is just to see what does come up if you search it.
Yeah.
And then to see like your competitors and kind of to look at their websites.
Yes.
Kind of go by that as well.
Yes and no. If you're gonna search yourself or competitors, do it incognito, okay? Because Google is tracking everything you're doing online, and they're going to deliver the things they think is going to interest you most. And you obviously probably visit your own website every now and then if you're working on it, especially. So if you are going to do that to go see what's popping up when I search for specific keywords, if you do it incognito, it'll give you a better viewpoint.
It's also allows you to compare keywords or compare time frames. So it really is, you can utilize it in many different ways. I like to do the time frame sometimes just to see seasonality year over year or month over month, quarter over quarter. It kind of gives a bigger view of that.
And so look, you can do it by image, news, Google shopping, YouTube search. Remember, YouTube's owned by Google. So it helps search within the different Google platforms so that you can compare and look at things.
It's very easy to use.
All right, another big thing that makes a website search engine friendly is that it's also trustworthy. I want to say it was April 2017, Google made a change, and they said if your site does not have an Ssl certificate, which is a secure socket layer, whatever, if it does not have that little padlock image when you go to the website, they are not going to put you, not only are you not going to show up in the Google search results, but if you're using a Chrome browser, it's going to block that page and it'll say, warning, this site may not be secure, could grab your information, move away from it. So you want to make sure that you have this Ssl certificate. You can purchase it from your hosting provider. On GoDaddy, when you get your domain name, you can get an Ssl certificate and hosting, usually for the first year or two for free. And then after that, again, it's like an $80 buy. But it's a way that tells Google, tells the users, this site is safe and it's not trying to steal all of your information. So that, number one, having that padlock on your website is key. If you don't know if you're secure or not, go to your website, and if in the browser it has the lock is unlocked, then your site is not safe. You want to look for that closed padlock. Same thing if you're taking payments, you want to make sure you're using something like a Google Pay in order to take secure payments where people feel safe with giving you their credit card information and making payments on your website. But security is huge. If not, your website's going to be blocked 100%. When it comes to the security, it's also about your reputation. So having good reviews. I encourage you to get those Google reviews in by your clients. If it's sending a follow-up email or a text, requesting those reviews, verbally, picking up the phone, calling them, asking for it, link to it, that build up those reviews, because we all do it. We go and we research and we look what other people are saying. So make sure you are getting those reviews in. It's important to show the ratings that you have as well, and then having clear contact information. Many times if we can't find the clear contact information, we don't trust either. Because you're like, is this real? You know? In fact, I also encourage people, if you are a local business and you want to attract other local people, to have a local phone number can help as well. Because it just says, okay, great. With a 615 number, they really are based here out of Asheville. I get we all use cell phones, and maybe you live somewhere else and you have a different code, but still, it does help for business to have that local number. All right, next steps, resources, bottom line, built into Google. Go make sure, if you don't already, you've got your Google Analytics set up. You're using a tool like Search Console, Test My Site, Trends to make some of those changes. Play around with your site, making sure it's following all the different rules, following the different trends. Make sure your site, before you do anything else, I want everyone to go make sure they have that Ssl certificate and their website is secure. If not, stop what you're doing right now and go do that. Go to GoDaddy or wherever it is and get your Ssl certificate live on your website. But make sure you get everything set up, you get those parameters ready to go. If you want more on all the different tools that Google has to offer, you can go to this google.co/primer. There's all these mini courses you can take. Google has on-air register for virtual workshops that they have and ways to help you out. They have a whole Google Grow training class that you can set up for your business, job seekers, developers, all built in there. You can learn all kinds of things. Or you can give us a call. We can either do it for you, or we'll sit down one-on-one and we'll speak like, real English and teach you how to do these different things to make sure your website is set up well. Or maybe you go to your website, you start doing some of these things and you're like, this is not following the goals. This isn't what I want. We can redesign a site. We can start from scratch. Or again, we can just make those tweaks and edits to help make your website more search engine friendly. We've been super excited to be a part of this organization and get to do something like this session. But when it comes to websites, we geek out. We're good at it. When it comes to social media, we are all over that stuff. So feel free to reach out to either one of us, because we would love to chat with you about your website and how you can make it work more for you with what you're doing.
We have 5 minutes to spare.
Any questions? Online, are there any questions?
It is a big but quiet group so far. I did a last call for questions now, so I'll let you know. If anything comes in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's right with Google, but I'm
It's a
gonna
lot of information, but I mean, your website's important, so don't ignore it. That's the big takeaway.
It's another extension of what you do.
Yes. Thank you guys for being here and
Thanks.
joining us online.
Was it because of your guys' presentation, I just bought a new website? You made me think.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's just thinking about how is it working. That's good.
That's awesome.
You need help optimizing it. Let's grab our cards.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna thank you for the folks who joined us in person and braved the weather. Thank you to everyone. Oh, I'm not even on the screen. Let's see which. Here we go. Yes, good, perfect. Thank you for everyone that joined us online. Thank you, of course, to Dolbert. You guys are incredible members. This was a great presentation. So thank you so much for your expertise. Of course, thank you to Grow with Google for today's content. And then I hope that you will join us. Our next Classroom Connect with Grow with Google is on May 26th. We are going to be talking about collaborating, meeting, and working remotely. And that will be led by our member, Jay Morgan, who's here from Constasis. So I hope you will join us then. You can find all the information on our website, NashvilleLGBTChamber.org. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, your clip broke.
Yes.
It's a lot of it.
What's that?
The name?
Oh, it's on collaboration, working from home,
here's the-
remote work, stuff like that. All basically the business.
It's there.
Cool, but-
Yeah.